To paraphrase the White Rabbit, I'm late. I'm late today. I did a thing with Good Neighbor George today. We sat down and recorded, and that whole session took about 3 hours in total. So it was time consuming, but very, very entertaining. I'm going to put that podcast out separately, I believe. I think it's going to start to build its own. It's going to be called No Plan, No Problem. So look for that wherever you find this. And it may take me about a week to get it all set up. And, I got to pay for that stuff. So, I'll get around to it. Anyway, I'm back for Trent Takes On. So let's do this. Welcome back to Trent Takes On 2.0. This is the Trent from the title of the show. I forgot to talk to George about that. I actually ran Trent Takes On, the original version, for over 100 episodes. It was over 100 episodes. And then I shuttered it in the wake of the Dobbs Supreme Court decision. And then I brought it back last summer. So we've been going for about a year. I'm at like 47 episodes, I think. This is episode 47, I think. Probably 45 because there were a couple of what I call classic episodes where I just kind of rerun one from the original run of the show, which was, back in the day. I took some time off during the holidays to spend with my family. So that's why there's a little gap this year in the 40-odd episodes that we've done. Anyway, I'm back. Last week we talked a lot about, was last week conspiracy theories? I think it was. There was conspiracy. The Epstein thing was really big. And then I released the AI special. That was earlier this week. That one was fun. I had a lot of fun doing that. If you haven't caught the AI special, go back and catch it real quick. Anyway, this is your regular Friday episode. I started doing these. Originally, I did them on Wednesdays and then Thursdays and now Fridays. And, I'll just keep pushing it back until I run out of days in the week, I guess. I wanted to talk about something that the Mad King is doing that's really upsetting. I wanted to talk about that. And I also want to point out, I also want to have a moment. I want to thank Trey Parker, Matt Stone, who are the guys behind South Park. This week, they had an opportunity to stand up to power. And they really did show the emperor with no clothes. So if you haven't caught that yet, look around on social media. I know that parts of it are available on YouTube. You do not have to activate Paramount Plus or, stream it through the official site because, they're a bunch of capitulating, bribing jerk-offs. Anyway, they got a $1.5 billion deal to produce new South Parks, and the very first one they produced was about Donald Trump suing people and threatening them and getting people to go along with his garbage. And kudos to them for that. Now back to the Epstein conspiracy that will never end. We're into like week 3 of this cycle. It's not going away, and I don't think it's going to go away because everything I did an entire podcast about how this regime can't do anything right. They can't cover up a conspiracy right either. They're fucking terrible at this. So their plan is always set a bigger fire. Set a bigger fire. Set a bigger fire. Because the bigger the fire, the more attention it draws. So since they've decided they're not going to release the Epstein files, what have they done? They've bombed Iran. I believe that was right after. He's thrown all kinds of shit at the wall from, I'm not going to give approval for the Washington Commanders to have a new stadium unless they change their name back to the Redskins. Like, what? They're all over the fucking place. He threatened to take away Rosie O'Donnell's citizenship. It's like, bro, they're just throwing fucking spaghetti at the wall. And this week he threw one of the biggest Hail Marys in history, which was to accuse former President Barack Obama of treason. And this is what I wanted to talk about today. Treason. The claim is that Obama and the intelligence community and all the people who looked into this, who came to the exact same conclusion, said that Russia interfered in the 2016 election with the purpose of influencing voters to vote for Donald Trump and against Hillary Clinton. In every one of their extensive reports, they have said no vote tallies were changed, no totals were changed, the computers, voter rolls were accessed, but no voting information or no votes were altered in any way. They went out of their way to say that over and over and over and over again. So now, Director of National Intelligence, which is a fucking hilarious title to give to somebody as stupid as Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard has come out and said that she's referring Obama, John Brennan, James, a whole bunch of people, a whole mess of people for criminal referral to the Department of Justice. And Donald Trump's out here saying it's treason. He's done this before. He throws around the word treason all the time. Now, this is a dangerous fucking thing to do. This is a horrifyingly dangerous charge to be lobbing about with nothing to back it up. And here's the thing, though. Donald Trump honestly believes that everyone who goes against him, everyone who doesn't agree with him, everyone who acts against Donald Trump in any way, including his political opponents, anyone who acts like Donald Trump isn't the Mad King is a treasonous cancer to our country. And that's because he honestly believes that as the elected king of our country, which he is not, he's just in his mind, that he and the country are synonymous. That to go against Trump is to go against the country. That is the autocracy poisoning the mind of a person who was unfit for office from the very beginning. We are a democracy. We are ruled by the will of the many. And those who are chosen to hold the mantle of president or senator or representative are given that title until such time as the people take it away. Or, in the case of the president, they are term limited by the Constitution itself. The power of the presidency, the power of senators, the power of the representatives, the House of Representatives, they are given by the people until such time as the people decide they don't want you to have it anymore. And then they take it away from you. They vote in somebody else. They usually do it through elections, but sometimes there are recalls and things like that. Those happen. Donald Trump is not the king of this country. He's not. He's not a monarch. His title will not be handed down to whoever he chooses as his successor. We vote in this country. The democracy rules. He won this election. Actually, this time won the popular vote, which is fucking insane to me to this day. He didn't receive a majority of the votes. He received what's called a plurality. He was the one who got the most votes while not getting all the way to 50 plus 1%. 50% plus 1, which would be a majority. More than half is a majority. Plurality is to win without quite getting to half. But you still got more votes than anybody else, and he did that. So he's president. I hate it. I think it sucks. I think he's a fucking unfit piece of trash. Oof, damn, dude. Dial that back. I don't like that he runs around calling people traitor when he's the one that fomented an insurrection against his own government on January 6th, 2021. I watched it standing in my own bedroom, tears in my eyes at how just heartbreaking this was, how scary it was. People may memory hole things all the time. This was during the pandemic. We didn't have shots in arms at the time, as they say. We didn't have a vaccine yet. It wasn't delivered yet. They had finished creating it. It was great. We're mass producing it. We're going to get it out to people as quickly as we can, but no. And Donald Trump and his cronies spent every day between the November 5th election and January 6th, when the final certification of the Electoral College votes, trying to undermine the results of that election that he lost by over 7 million votes. They did everything in their power to undermine the will of the people, down to unleashing an army of followers on the halls of Congress. He was impeached by the House of Representatives for that act, and the Senate failed to convict him, which, had they done so, would have prevented him from ever holding public office again. And what's happening now would never have happened. But in a moment that called for true political courage, the Republican Senate failed miserably to do the thing that would have let everyone off the hook, even Donald Trump himself. Treason is a crime against the country, a crime against every citizen, a crime against the government itself, a crime against our future, against our past, against our ideals. Betrayal. That's what treason is. When people don't like the way you do things, that's not treason. That's holding power to account. It's one of the basics of being an American, trying to hold power to account. Because we don't believe in kings here. We don't like kings. There are no kings in America. There are some people whose last name is King, like Stephen King. He's a nice guy. Now, he wasn't always. There was a former Oklahoma basketball player named Stacey King who played for the Chicago Bulls, and he was on all 6 of those title teams in the 90s. Just fun fact. Donald Trump's not our king. And speaking truth to power is not treason. It's not. It's the exercise of your First Amendment rights. The First Amendment, the very First Amendment, the one that they thought was so important, we got to list this one first. Dissent is part of America. It's in our soul. It's how we were created as a nation. We dissented. We said, no, I'm not doing this anymore. What Donald Trump is doing, throwing around the word treason and attaching it to these people, is dangerous. It's dangerous to them because he knows damn well that he has seemingly countless followers who are armed and willing to do dangerous, violent things in his name. Ask Paul Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi's husband, who had his head bashed in with a hammer by a political terrorist. Same thing, same political terrorism happened in Minnesota just a couple months ago, when a Minnesota former Speaker of the House, current member of the House, well, at the time, was murdered, along with her husband and their dog. And another member of the House was shot multiple times along with his spouse. And that man was not charged with terrorism. Even though he had a list of 75 lawmakers and other people who are Democrats. People who politically were against Donald Trump. It's a funny thing, isn't it? Treason, he says, calls people treasonous, says they're guilty of treason. In this country, treason can be penalized by death. I've talked on this pod I don't know, for the last several months about how far we've gone, how dangerous these moments are, how bad things get. This is pretty bad. This is really bad. And he's doing it all to distract from the fact that one of his best friends was a child sex trafficker named Jeffrey Epstein. He got a sweetheart deal and pled guilty to a couple of prostitution charges in Florida. And he was being held in New York before the feds were going to try him for a lot more, when he suddenly committed suicide in his prison holding cell. And he took his secrets to the grave with him, apparently. But the sweetheart deal that he got was from a guy named Robert Acosta, who served in Trump's cabinet. That's right. That happened in 2017. Robert Acosta was named Department of Transportation Secretary by Donald Trump. Maybe a thank you for the sweetheart deal that he gave to one Jeffrey Epstein. Maybe. It's possible. Trump's doing everything he can to deflect, to distract, to set a bigger fire, to keep you from realizing what's going on. But you know better, because if it walks like a duck, it looks like a duck, it sounds like a duck, it's a fucking duck. Donald Trump is all over those Epstein files because he was good friends with Jeffrey Epstein for a long, long time. There's plenty of public reporting about how they showered each other with affection. Yeah. Donald Trump's in those Epstein files. He knows he is. He was told he is. Wall Street Journal just reported that yesterday. He knows. He knows damn well what he did, and that's why he's doing everything he can to cover it up and to distract from it and to keep it from coming out. Because if he weren't implicated in any way, he would have dropped that stuff. He doesn't care about anybody but himself. So it wouldn't matter if it implicated his own sons. He would drop that shit. As long as he wasn't in it, he would drop it. He would give it to the world and say, look at that. He would sell out anyone that isn't him, just so he can spend one more day of freedom. And the weird part about MAGA is they're just starting to come around to the fact that, holy crap, he promised he was gonna out the deep state. He was gonna drain the swamp. He was gonna undo all this corruption. He was gonna take down the elites in our name. And MAGA is just starting to figure out that he's one of them. He protects them. Protects them all the time. What the fuck was this giant bill they just passed with all these tax benefits that go to the richest Americans? You didn't get anything out of that. You lost social safety net out of that. Poor kids got their food taken away from them so that rich people could have more of their, get to keep more of their money. Donald Trump is hiding that stuff from you because he's in there. He's one of the elites. I don't know how MAGA ever thought that a guy who flies around in a private plane with his name on the side, a guy who owns buildings and has to put his name at the top in giant letters, Trump, a guy who shits on a golden toilet. You think this dude cares about outing the elites? He is an elite. He always... What is his hobby? He fucking golfs. There is no more elitist bullshit hobby than that. He golfs constantly. He owns multiple golf courses. Yeah. Yeah, you don't get more elite than that. He lives at the Mar-a-Lago Country Club. Exclusive resort. That's his residence. And you think he's going to out the elites? His entire cabinet is filled with billionaires like Linda McMahon and Scott Bessent. And what's his nuts? Ludwig. Anyway, that jackass in charge of commerce. He had the world's richest man was his number one guy until he wasn't anymore. And then his number one guy turned on him and he said, what did he say? What did he send? He sent out a tweet, said, Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's why he won't release them. And I tell you what, he deleted that tweet, but everybody screenshotted that shit. The internet lives forever, baby. It's undefeated. See, he spilled beans, told the truth. And once the truth comes out, oh shit, it's hard to get back into that bottle, isn't it? It's like trying to put ketchup back into that Heinz squeezer. It's not treason to hold Donald Trump to account. It's actually the most patriotic thing we could do. And the MAGA base is starting to turn on him. And if the MAGA base turns on him, guess who else needs to turn on him? The Senate, the House, the people who need the MAGA base. But maybe they don't need Trump anymore. His approval rating dropped to 37%, according to Gallup. 37% approval. Whew, that's not good. 57% disapprove. Who? Damn. I want to know who the undecideds are. You don't have anything to say? Well, people are mad, and they should be. This regime can't do anything right. They fucked up the economy. They're fucking up immigration. They fucked up the national workforce. They fucked up our tax code. They fucked up Medicaid, which is going to in turn fuck up Medicare. These people can't do anything right. They certainly can't cover up their own failures. They haven't solved any of the wars anywhere in the world. In fact, there's a couple new ones. India and Pakistan are still kind of staring at each other down loaded guns. And Thailand and Cambodia are now at it. That hadn't even cracked the real news yet. It's time, man. The dam is cracking. He accused the former president of treason. Get the fuck out of here. And to their credit, this time, it doesn't seem like the base is going to follow him. They want what they want. And he's not giving it to them for the first time ever. And it's not going down very well. You can't promise and promise and promise and promise and promise and then do the opposite thing. You can't. It'll burn you down. And that's what he's learning. Just like South Park said, the emperor has no clothes. And now we're going to have proof. That's going to do it for me. Thank you very much for being a part of this journey. I appreciate you so much. Come back next week and we'll do it again. Hip, hip. send this to a friend. Say, hey, check this out. And above all, be good humans. It's the least we can do. And one final note. Rest in peace to Ozzy Osbourne. Love that guy. Bark at the moon. Ciao.